You know what it is. That's right. It's time to talk money with your money nerd and financial coach. Now, tighten those purse strings and open those ears. It's the Money Talk with Tiff podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. So today I have Andray and Maisha Stroud here from the I Don't Do Toilets podcast, and we're here at Fincon 2021 in Austin, Texas, and it's been a phenomenal time. But before we get to that, I just want to get this out the way. I don't do toilets. What does that mean? Because I love that name, y'all.
Yes, thank you. So what I Don't Do Toilets is that we're helping Gen Xers to reduce their debt, increase their income, and retire comfortably. And one of the ways that we do that is through real estate, stocks, and trading. And so we focus on those passive type investments that will give us passive income that we can grow into as we get older, late in life.
Awesome. Nice. And that is so important. Mom, are you listening? Because I need you to. Okay. So, yes. But yeah, that's so important that, because people don't realize, like, things are all fine and dandy now that you're working,
right?
But nobody wants to work forever.
Right.
At least I don't think.
Right.
I don't want to work forever. And so you need something that's going to take you through until you die. And so what that is usually investments and things like that. So I'm glad that you all are using your knowledge and platform to educate the community on these types of things.
Yes. So and really we like real estate, but we don't want all the overhead of the landlord part and, fix it. Who wants to do toilets? I don't. So we do specific types of transactions that allow us to make that passive income. So
awesome. So let's talk a little bit about that. So with real estate, right? So everybody always talks about, okay, buy property, become a landlord, maybe invest in REITs or, something of that nature. And if y'all don't know what REITs are, go to my website, search, it's there. Because we're not going to take time to do that. But, usually people think of those traditional avenues, but there's another one.
Yes. And what that is through owner financing.
Yeah.
And so basically we're the bank for people. And what we do is we acquire properties and then we turn around and we sell them as a bank would. So we have terms. We have basically terms and we set the interest rate and then we have the note.
Wow.
And we get all the benefits of the landlord, so we get all the profits, but we don't have all the overhead. And it has been lovely.
It's been a blessing.
Genius, y'all. I'm sitting amongst geniuses right now. No, but seriously though, because like me and my husband, we have a rental property, but we have a tenant. And so, for instance, the refrigerator just went out. And so guess who they just called? And so we never thought about just buying a property and just owner financing it to the next person. So that way we are not the repair people.
Right. Yeah.
And add that it's as is.
Yes. So a lot of people think that you have to fix up the house or do anything, to make the house sellable. Like in a traditional transaction, you would come get it appraised, you would have the inspector, they would figure out, the refrigerator doesn't work, this air conditioner needs to be fixed, and you have to fix that before you sell the home.
Nice.
With owner financing, you sell it as is, and they take it as is. So there's no hassle.
So you pretty much bypass the whole due diligence stage and all that stuff?
So we still do title. We run title. So we go through a title company to make sure that it's copacetic. And then we have a loan originator. So, and then we have a loan servicer as well. So getting it set up takes a little bit of work to do, but it's not hard to do. And once it's set up, you are up and running and your check is in your bank account.
Nice. And this is what you all teach people on I Don't Do Toilets?
So we teach that, and we also talk about our stocks and trading, and we're looking into some other avenues that we haven't kind of said anything about yet in our podcast, but we will.
Of course, because we have to spread the knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So because I'm so fascinated with this. So do you all buy the property cash and then you turn around and sell it as is?
That's a good question. So one of the properties that we did have, and I'll come back to that part too. One of the properties we did purchase cash, but we only got it for $30,000. So that was a great purchase.
and let me just pause for a minute to reiterate that cash is king.
Yes.
You know, Dave Ramsey says that all the time, but it's true. If you go to the table with cash, you're more likely to get the deals and get the good deals. So, okay. All right, go ahead.
Right. Yes. And so the other two properties, we do have underlying mortgages on.
Okay.
But because of the way we structured the transaction and we have a loan servicer, our underlying mortgage is paid first, and then we get paid on the second. So it is not a hassle at all. At all.
I don't know why but see, this is what this podcast is all about, exposure, right?
Yes.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so now, like, my mind is going 1,000 miles a minute. So we'll talk afterwards. But anyway, I also want to hit on, this is you all's first Fincon, right?
It is. And I'm going to let my husband talk about that. He's so excited.
No. I am nervous. So you doing all the talking was fine with me. But yes, this is our first experience, and I've been here maybe 2 hours.
Yes.
Wow.
Had a busy work week.
Oh.
And she came up for day one, day two.
Yes.
So it has been great so far, though.
Yes.
We've met you. We've stopped at a couple of booths. We did a podcast. It was exciting, the podcast outside of our element.
Right.
You know, professional equipment, professional look, a look.
Okay.
With the step and repeat behind us. So it gave us like an official feeling, an official look that's different than our bedroom. With
usual
kids
setup, right?
Yeah, right. Kids running through the background and they're asking you, they're harassing you. So this was different, and in front of an audience.
Exactly.
So that was exciting.
Yes, and so just to give people a little background, so at Fincon, they set up video booths and they set up podcasting stages and things like that for us content creators to just hop on and, I was just talking to them randomly and I was like, you know what, come on over, let's
Put
go
us
ahead
on
and
the
record.
spot. Yes.
Right, I was like, so I told them, don't be nervous because y'all know how I am. Like, I'll make you loosen up. But, right? Yeah. So I'm so glad they went along with my madness because this is really good information.
And we appreciate it.
Yes.
We appreciate you initiating that because that's not something I would have thought about to do. But no, this has been great. This has been great. My few hours that I've been here have been awesome, and I just feel so official.
Yes.
So it's just,
because you are, we all experience imposter syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. And so especially when as content creators, we're working in our bubbles all the time.
Right.
And so in order to come to an event like this where it's more of us and we can see us, it's like, I'm not alone.
Right. Like-minded people.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so we can bounce ideas off of each other or have podcast episodes being recorded on the spot. Just so, right. I tell people with Fincon, because this is my second Fincon. Okay. So I tell people with Fincon, what I learned from the first one is ignore the sessions. No, I'm just kidding.
Network.
Network. That is why you're here.
Right,
so, honestly, I think I've been to maybe 3, if you count the main event. I've been to 3 sessions the whole time, but I've gained so much information outside of the sessions, just the lobby meetings, the happenstance, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, that's a big thing with Fincon, especially in person, because mind you, we're mid-COVID, and they had a virtual option, but I was like, it's not the same. You can't just bump into people or see people and say, hey, how are you? That type of thing. Right. And so the connections are kind of limited, and especially everybody's zoomed out. Right.
Everybody zoomed out.
Everybody zoomed out.
Like, let's try a different
Tap out.
medium. Let's try a different medium.
COVID, what? I'm
Yeah.
ready to get out.
Absolutely.
So what has been you all's biggest takeaways from Fincon 2021?
You want it? I think for me, for the past 2 days, that the resources that they have at Fincon, and then I'm going to get real specific because we were able to kind of get together as a group of African American content creators, and that was amazing. And I don't know where I would find that anywhere else. And everybody was so it was like community, and they were willing to share. It's been a great experience.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I've learned about the personal finance creator influencer community is everybody is so helpful. And being in a space like this, you know, if there's somebody that you've always wanted to be a guest, you can ask them in their face, and it's hard for them to say no.
And that's us. That is us.
I come over to see what your shirt say, and then we small talk, and then boom, it's like, well, let's hop on the. I was like, wait a minute, I can't tell her no. I approached her. So yeah, you're exactly right. Right. And this has been fun. I appreciate it.
Exactly, but see, this wouldn't have happened otherwise, right?
Not at all.
It wouldn't have happened otherwise, and so. What I tell people with Fincon, after my first one, I'm like, look, get out there and network. Just meet people. Take that information back. You never know who you can collaborate with in the future and serve each other's audiences, you know? And so what about you? I know you've only been here for, 2 or 3 hours, but still.
Well, just to piggyback on what you're stating, just the ability to network, to empower, to encourage. This has been refreshing.
Yes.
So I've been so excited.
Yes.
So my takeaway would be just to get out and meet like-minded. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
And seeing your husband, seeing other folks. I'm waiting for next year.
Yes.
Right. So I want to get through this day, get through tomorrow, and hit the ground running.
Yes.
And it's so my biggest takeaway again is just being able to network.
Yes. And see, the thing about Fincon, while you're in the moment, is so much happening and it's so much going on. There's so many connections to make. It's so much to learn. And so for like the month afterwards, I'm just implementing all of these things that I've learned. And so it's like you have a Fincon high and it's like extended. You know what I mean? It gives you like more motivation, more push to implement stuff. Like, honestly, y'all, I've been doing Money Talk with Tiff for probably about three or 4 years now. Okay. And I've never monetized ever. But that was one thing that I took away from this Fincon, was ways that I can still serve my audience and have no change in how I serve my audience, but I can still monetize off of that as well. Absolutely. And so that's my takeaway, y'all.
Get that money, get that bag. It's out there.
Right.
You've already put in the work.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Hey, and if you all are like willing, at some point taking your rental property and kind of converting it, we'll talk. I wanted to go back to the one that we paid cash for. And we actually had the mortgage on that one we didn't have a mortgage. It was when I say we had the mortgage, we hold the note. So that's what owner financing is. We actually hold the note for the property, but the person that was living in the house wasn't paying on time. And so we were like, okay, this note is not performing. There are note buyers that will buy your note. And we made a profit. So that's another aspect of it.
So, okay, now I have more questions. So let me get this straight. So it's kind of like, for instance, when debtors sell to debt collectors, kind of, sort of. So if somebody is not, paying on time and, doing a note correctly, you can sell it to somebody else and say, okay, I'm done with this. Let me move on to the next opportunity.
Right. And so let me describe it like this. When you purchase a house, and I do want to make a disclaimer. I'm not a real estate agent or broker or anything like that.
And let me do another disclaimer while we talk about this. This is for informational and educational purposes only. We are not giving you investment advice. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So if you have these notes, and I'll liken it to this. When you purchase a house and you get a mortgage, sometimes the mortgage companies will sell their mortgages to another company. That's what that is. It's note buying.
I see.
So when you are the bank and you have a note, your note may be underperforming, but it also may be performing very, very well. And there are people who want to purchase those notes. And I believe there was one here at Fincon as well. But there's people who are willing to buy notes because it's a lucrative business. So if you're creating notes, hint, hint, through buying properties and then owner financing them, you're creating different streams of income. So now you have one where your purchaser has to pay you monthly. So you're getting monthly payments for however long the term is for that particular note. And then if you get tired or you just want out, you can sell your note to a note buyer for the rest of the term.
Nice, y'all. I'm over here. I don't know if y'all can see the wheels turning, but I'm over here like, I need to go buy a property real quick.
Hey.
Flip it in another way. Because, people always talking about flipping properties.
Yes.
This is a whole completely different flip that you can do.
Absolutely.
This is awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming on the show. If people were interested in learning more about this, which I'm sure they are, okay, because I'm about to go follow them right now. But if people were interested in learning more about I Don't Do Toilets, where can they find you all?
We are on IG at I Don't Do Toilets podcast.
Okay.
We are also at iTunes, so you can listen to our podcast on iTunes and Spotify, all major platforms. Yes. And we're working on a website, so we'll be there soon.
Yes.
Takeaway.
Yes. Get your website up. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I'll have all of their links in the show notes. So don't worry if you didn't catch that. Just click in the show notes and you can click and go forth and conquer. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And have a good day.
Thank you for listening, joining, and being a part of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast this week. You can check Tiff out every Thursday for a new Money Talk podcast. But if you just can't wait until next week, you can listen to previous podcast episodes at moneytalkwitht.com or follow Tiff on all social media platforms at Money Talk with T. Until next time, spend wise by spending less than you make. A word to the money wise is always sufficient.